came in place after the Second World War has been beneficial to all parties. America has benefited, America has prospered.
The president of Ghana, I think he was in Germany, and they had this press conference. No, is it a press conference? Let's just say it's an interview. So um, he was basically just addressing this um, USA aid freeze or aid cuts, whatever you want to call it. But and he made it clear that the USA has the right to stop its aid to whatever country, or if they decide we are going through a tough time right now, and we are going to stop the aid. They have the right to do that because this aid is just them helping us or people. And then he was talking about soft power, which is something that I think it was the first time I'm hearing. I had to move because my son is here and he wants to be in on this. So
Ghana's 14th president earlier this year after running on a platform aimed at cracking down on corruption and spurring economic growth. With his term still in its infancy, Mahama must now make navigating a shifting global order one of his main priorities.
Well, I think that the world order that came in place after the Second World War has been beneficial to all parties. America has benefited, America has prospered from that world order. And I do think that no country can exist in isolation. Nobody can draw his bridges up and dig a moat around his country. We're interconnected in many ways. America has the right to recalibrate and freeze its international assistance to other countries. But there's always a blowback. One, America loses soft power because USAID is a well-known brand of America and it intervenes in very critical areas. And so if America decides that it doesn't want to intervene in those areas, it is possible that other countries might decide to fill that gap, or we might fill it ourselves like we're trying to do now, adjusting our budgets to fill the gap that America leaves. But it loses the influence that it has exerted over the years. Apart from that, it's not only in those areas. USAID is the biggest supplier of food aid in many places, and they buy this food aid from American farmers. And so if USAID is no longer buying that food to deliver as food aid, then it means that American farmers lose a huge demand that, assisted them in their business. And so there's always a blowback. There are a lot of connectivities, and we'll see how it plays out. The Trump playbook is still playing out. We're all watching what is happening. But as I've always said, disruptions lead to new world orders. And so this is a disruption that is happening. I'm sure that maybe a new world order will be born out of it.
So yeah, he was talking about soft power because it's something that I think this is the first time I'm hearing the president talking about this. I mean, we hear about these things and you don't think much of it. So this USA aid was actually this like it's actually a better place to be. The US aid that was cut to Africa should be seen as an advantage for African countries. I know like there's a lot going on right now in the continent with the wars and rumors of wars going on. So a lot of people would need this aid. But I think the African government, it's been so long that they've been relying on aid from the USA. And I think this is the time that they should consider other ways to raise funds for whatever the aid was doing. We can't just be relying heavily on other people's good intentions. So what happened? What also took me aback was how the interviewer or the interviewer started trying to push yeah, the interviewer started to push John Mahama on the LGBTQ issues.
Mr. President, I do want to ask about the anti-LGBTQ legislation that we did see expire in Ghana earlier this year. A number of parliamentarians support reviving it. If it came to your desk, would you sign?
Because you can feel the force of the questions. So it was interesting when the interviewer started pushing the president on LGBTQ. Is it something that will be brought back to Ghana? And it seemed like an important issue that you could ask a president from Ghana about. So I'm just gonna go ahead and and this is where I think other African head of states will be happy that they are no longer receiving aid from the USA, because the USA uses this aid to push their own cultural agenda. And I like how the president was answering these questions, because it's really important also to think of African culture, or every country's culture, especially when it comes to things that maybe they're okay in somebody else's culture and they're not okay in the other person's culture.
Well, I believe that multilateral institutions should avoid getting into cultural matters. This is a diverse world. We have different cultures. And so I don't think multilateral institutions should include, cultural imposition as part of their mandate. I don't agree with that. If they decide to pull it, well, it's their prerogative. But I don't believe that multilateral institutions like the World Bank and IMF should include in their mandates how people behave culturally.
So I think with the USA aid that is gone, it's so unfortunate that it's gone in that manner, because it wasn't like we are gonna cut you off, you guys, because of this and this. It was just like somebody being disrespectful to the whole entire continent. But I think it could be a blessing in disguise, because now African countries will be independent in their decision making, whether they want to allow other things and whether they don't want to allow or disallow other things. So that's what I was really happy to see, that the president of Ghana would address this issue in such a manner, and also being clear as well that, you know what, this is a governmental thing. Like, he cannot just make he cannot just answer a question willy nilly, and he had to say this is a thing that will have to go through Parliament, and then yeah. So the president of Ghana just earned a level of respect from me, and we have to see more of questions answered like this, especially by our head of state, not like trying to be liked, or I don't know, to be pleasing to everybody. So yeah,